Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. This video series is about a moral economy from the philosophy of universal pinpointed moral precision. It is my second video series on economics. This first video is about the definition of economy, and I built on it since the last video series. It's very important to get the definition right. Before I talk about the definition of economy, I want you to understand that the best economist gives sound recommendations for the economy. I've never even heard of any economist or politician who recommends, a sound plan for the economy. There's all kinds of wacky plans because we live in a society and on a planet that is ruled in a profane way by people who are maniacs. No matter how you slice it, evil people run the economy. Whether you think there's a great conspiracy or you believe the mainstream narrative that powerful corporate partnerships lobby governments and have global agendas, no matter how you slice it, evil people manipulate the economy and they use it to social engineer. Period. Non-negotiable. To deny that is to argue that you're delusional, or at least a liar. So the word economy refers to the idea of a system that deals with scarcity that comes from someone's philosophy or a group's philosophies. So again, the word economy, which is different than the word economics, we'll get to that, refers to the idea of a system that deals with scarcity that comes from someone's philosophy or a group's philosophies. That philosophical part is key. It comes from someone's philosophy. That's more important than understanding the endless term. For example, the term aggregate demand often scares people when they hear it. Aggregate demand. Okay, or aggregate utility, for example. We'll get to that. So aggregate demand is simply the total dollar value of the products of a society, of an organization, what have you. That's all it is. The word aggregate means a cluster put together in one unit, a grouping of things put together in one unit. For example, the population of America. The word demand goes back to supply and demand. How much money are people willing to spend on it? What is the demand? How much is it worth? That's all that is. And in economics, which is not the same as being the top martial artist or something this complex, brain surgery, rocket science, what have you, the terms are not that deep. They're not that important. It's more important to focus on the philosophy than on the terms. It's very easy to understand the terms. It's like as easy as going grocery shopping or starting a small business. There's things that might frustrate you, but economics is a simple idea. And understanding the economy is a simple idea. Economics is the scientific study of how individuals, organizations, or societies deal with the problem of scarcity. Okay, it is a science. The idea of economy is not a science. Okay, the word economy is an idea that you don't have to be a scientist to scrutinize. That's why politicians talk to everybody about the economy, knowing that the vast majority of people are not scientists. There's many people who teach economics who do not recommend sound economic solutions. They don't insist on a sound economy. Every single conservative is way off when it comes to their recommendations for the economy because of their philosophy being way off. So in the past, I define an economy as an idea or a non-specific idea that people are supposed to discuss. It is a philosophical idea. The components of an economy include distribution, use, consumption, practices, management, trade, and production of goods and services. Obviously, resources, especially scarce resources, and human resources are key. So notice I didn't use the word system at all, because I wanted people to focus on the fact that it's an idea. It is a system, and that goes without saying. You all know that from watching the news, what have you. What's important to note is that it is an idea that people are supposed to discuss. It's a philosophical idea. An economy is a philosophy expressed in a system that deals with the problem of scarcity. Again, it's a philosophy that's expressed in a system. The American economy reflects what you might call the American philosophy. Except for it's really the governing class's philosophy that they force on America in a way that's similar to how they force cultures on America. They market things, goods and products, and they market people, celebrities, sports players, rock stars, what have you. And they market it to different demographics. The economy is forced on society in a way that is more deliberate, more potent, perhaps, than how they force cultures and individuals on society. Okay. So now that we have that taken care of there, one person, I think his name was like Professor, I want to say his name was Professor Dave, he said that economics is the scientific study of decision making. Decision making, which goes back to philosophy. Who are you going to date? What are you going to wear? What do you want to do in life? What do you think of this video? Are you going to watch the next video? Okay. If you are wise, you're going to hear me out. And you know that I'm talking about something extremely important. And I'm emphasizing something extremely important. And I'm not a teacher as far as teaching at a school. Almost certainly they wouldn't allow me to be, because they teach things in a certain way that has to do with the tricks of the trade. It has to do with giving certain groups the upper hand over others, and for the wrong reasons. The economic system we have here in America is a system of white and Jewish and LGBT supremacy, with various token minorities who they elevate over lots of people, including lots of whites, Jewish, and lots of white and Jewish people and LGBT people. That is the system that we have here in America. It is evil. Nothing good can come from putting LGBT people and various races above everyone unfairly. Because they do that, it forces me to highlight that there's nothing about whites or Jews that suggests that they should rule over other people, okay, and that it should be limited to them or the governing class families of their races or what have you. There's nothing about them, scientifically or otherwise, that would suggest that. It is just evil for people to do things that way. That's all there is to it. I make a content of the character argument. It goes like this. Under no circumstances should the economy be designed to uphold racial or LGBT supremacy while attacking the idea of moral supremacy. And I'm talking about in reality, obviously. There are four main types of systems and orders that we could have. We could have a moral order and a moral system. Or we could have an immoral system that they admit is immoral. Or we can have an immoral system that they don't admit is immoral, which is the system we have. They often point to each other and the left and right wing of the system, and they say, hey, it's their fault. And the other side says, no, it's their fault. Okay, so that's a form of not admitting that the system is immoral, whether there's a liberal or conservative in power, or a Democrat or Republican. Or four, we could have an anarchy, which is stupid to have. It is immoral to have an anarchy. In an anarchy, there basically comes a time where a bunch of people get together and start raping and killing and robbing everyone. It like never fails. That's where chaos leads. And so you have this kind of evil pirate government of sorts that starts taking form. And it's that simple. Also, really quickly, it's important to note that I don't talk this way naturally. I talk in a way that's far more divine, far more soothing. They try to make it so I sound like some kind of nerd or something. And I talk in a way that goes beyond every type of people you can imagine. And it's very sad that the people behind the economy are so oppressive that they don't want you to hear how I naturally sound when I'm the top martial artist ever possible. And I've proven that.